In coming days, we will see the greatest manifestations of the Savior's power that the world has ever seen. Between now and the time he returns with power and great glory, he will bestow countless privileges, blessings, and miracles upon the faithful. Nonetheless, we are presently living in what surely is a most complicated time in the history of the world. The complexities and challenges leave many people feeling overwhelmed and exhausted. However, consider a recent experience that might shed light on how you and I can find rest. During the recent open house of the Washington, D.C. Temple,
Travis Wingoodsall. It's 8:43, not 9:43. And I had planned mentally my day, and saw the news this morning from ProPublica, and have been occupied for the last couple hours. Diverted off track. And here I am, sharing it with you. I realized that I had not done this video for you when I knew that it needed to be done quite a while now. On April 28th, 2022, this year, right after I had been wrongfully and criminally served with an eviction, the church had their Washington, D.C. Temple open house with political leaders. Yeah, oopsie. Those of you who know politics know of the church's previous history of tampering with elections and government leaders, getting them compromised. Yeah, the church is back at it again. They cannot stop their criminal activity. They just keep going and going and going and going. They put the Energizer Bunny to shame. Well, there's several things involved with what they did with the Washington, D.C. Temple open house. Purposely planned and designed to be opened this year. Understand this. When the church came out and said that they were going to remodel the Salt Lake Temple, they knew what they were doing, and they had planned for it to be finished in 2024. There's a reason for that. Is because they don't just say, oh, okay, the temple needs to be remodeled, okay, we'll just start remodeling it, and random, oh, it just happens to coincide with a specific date and time and event. Yeah, no, they purposely plan all this. They know how long it'll take, and the symbolism that is portrayed to Mormons, even though Mormons are denser than a mule stick. So I'm the one who has to expose it and warn you of the dangers. So, let's go to Exhibit A. Let's go into Exhibit B in the filing. I've already filed it with the court in my counterclaim because I've tied the church to my being evicted financially and compromising documents and such. And so yes, the federal investigators are supposed to be investigating, and it's going on who knows how many months now, 7, 8, 10 years. God, as I suffer and everybody else replace me. So Neil Gorsuch, Supreme Court Justice, remember him? Yeah, he was the replacement of Obama's pick for the Supreme Court, as Mitch McConnell and the GOP at that the GOP at that time purposely held back Merrick Garland, who's now the Attorney General, who's supposed to be in charge of my investigation with my counterclaim. Neil Gorsuch was then put in under Trump, as they purposely waited and delayed and gave all sorts of excuses, and then when Trump, they just pushed him right through. And so it's we know what they're doing. They're purposely lying and deceiving, and Democrats are weakless, spineless ninnies who are letting them destroy our nation, and thus contributing to that destruction by their inept failure to protect us as Americans, using the elections to extort us. Oh, you've got to vote because your democracy is at stake. You've got to vote for our Democrats. Otherwise, it's your fault that you get put into slavery in Walmart concentration camps. And it ended up being Trump used them for the southern border lockups. Dear God, how did you guys screw that conspiracy theory up? Dumb. But, he attended the open house on the 28th. And he was with Quentin L. Cook from the Quorum of the 12, who likewise has been a judge and prosecutor, I believe. And so they could relate. You know, it wasn't the President Oaks, who likewise could have done it. But regardless, it was still a leader of the church. Quentin L. Cook, as a member of the 12, is on the church's corporate board of directors. And so he, being put in before 2008, right? Quentin L. Cook. That almost became my name. My mom was given 3 options: Vincent, Quentin, or Travis. And obviously it was intended to force the name to be Travis by my dad. Let's see. Yeah, barely. Oh, no, wait. 70 was 2007. October 11th, 2007. So yeah, just the year before, the church locked me up, disappeared me, replaced me from society, because that's what white supremacists do. They replace, and they claim they're the victims of replacement. And so yeah, he, along with all of the board, signed and approved of the payment and the order to have me disappeared in 2008, as well as what's been done to me lately. What have you done for me lately? Oh. And so, what is the Supreme Court justice used for? Yeah, overturning Roe v. Wade, our rights and liberties. But you'll also, if you've paid attention to the news, Ginny Thomas, the wife of Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas, was specifically targeted and used to be compromised to compromise her husband for the 2020 elections. For the coup. And yep, Justice Thomas has been in the news lately as having refused to recuse himself and thus has ruled in favor of Trump in a certain case that came before him. That's a crime. That's not just a violation of judicial code of conduct. That was criminal because they've aided and abetted the enemy in tampering with the 2020 election investigation. A Supreme Court justice. And so with the church having Gorsuch there at the temple with the leader of the church, they compromised him. And it's for a future compromise. Yeah, welcome to our temple. Do us a favor, though, in the future. That's how it works. And I've got eye problem today, contact problem. So if I'm, that's why. And so what potentially is involved other than decisions that the church wants the Supreme Court to rule on and decide on? Yeah, religious freedom and other such stuff. But also, in case of any potential appeals that go straight to the Supreme Court from a conviction, from an investigation into criminal activity that a certain person has been reporting on because they've destroyed his life. So yeah, they've already rigged my case against me, as well as other things. And so, Exhibit B. There's a bunch of senators that also went. And I'm not sure how many of them are running for re-election, but the main one we all know. It's the one here in Utah, which is controlled by the church. So let me bring up, I'll have to search for it because I moved it. Alrighty. And so, among the list of senators is Louisiana Senator Bill Cassidy, Nebraska Senator Deb Fischer, Idaho Senator Mormon Jim Rich, Minnesota Senator Amy Klobuchar. Yeah, I've seen her flip-flop, and the church is making sure of this, and we'll get to the reasoning behind this tampering with the Senate. Wyoming Senator Cynthia Loomis, Florida Senator Rick Scott. Yeah, he's been in the news lately, hasn't he? Especially for the January 6th. Utah Senator, I wonder who this is, Mike Lee, Danite descendant of the infamous John D. Lee, who's a murderer of women and children, and who got Joseph Smith framed and sent to Liberty Jail in the Mormon War in Missouri, with an election fraud nonetheless. I wonder if there was a symbolic pattern of practice that the descendants of those people are now causing this election fraud and the 2020 election fraud. Yes it is. It's a 200-year-old plot to destroy America and replace a government with a king. You know, king men from the Book of Mormon. Anybody believe in it? No? Mormons don't believe in the Book of Mormon, huh? Well, only as literally true, Travis. Not a type and shadow of symbolism. As a prophetic warning. Kansas Senator Roger Doc Marshall. Pennsylvania Senator Pat Toomey. Utah Senator Mitt Romney. Yeah, he claims to be on the fringe. He's just playing you all for suckers and losers. Yeah, he knows where his money is buttered. And Indiana Senator Mike Braun. So I don't know about the others who's also running in this election, but yeah, Mormons in those particular states, if any of them are also running for this midterms, have now been informed by the church that the church endorses those candidates. And yes, Senator Mike Lee. Every single Mormon knows the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints has endorsed Senator Mike Lee because he went to the Washington, D.C. Temple Open House on the 28th of April. Evan McMullen can now claim election fraud, along with the advertisement scandal that he won, actually. So, yeah, if you're voting for Lee, you're the enemy. You're seeking to overthrow our government, and you missed Senator Lee talk about how he wants to overthrow Social Security. Oh, Grandma and Grandpa don't get their Social Security no more? Oh, because you voted for Lee? Now they have to stay at your home? Be taken care of by you? Because they can't go out and get a job? I keep warning you all these years about what he's plotting against us and conspiracy with the church to set things up, and you don't believe me. You think I'm the enemy. Yeah. And so what else do senators do? Yeah. They make decisions in law. You know, like the Religious Freedom Act. Overturning Roe v. Wade, as well as the conviction of impeachments. Yeah. See where we're headed with this? See, when Nelson got up in October 2022's October General Conference, and he said, in the coming days, Jesus is going to come and perform miracles. This is what he's talking about, guys. The church has again tampered with elections and has compromised government officials who aren't even Mormon. This is how criminal the church is. And if you're unfamiliar with California's Prop 8 in 2008, in the election that I was denied voting in, the church got in big trouble. They purposely spent money for advertising to compromise Mormon votes and anybody else who would listen. And the church isn't bigoted. They're working with the LGBTQ community to pass laws to protect them. Right? Yeah, except for the church also puts in their Religious Freedom Act clause in which the church is exempt from following that law. It's a con, guys. The church are criminals. They cannot be good. They cannot leave people alone to live their lives as they so choose. The church is disappointed in what I have chosen to do with my life, show that Joseph Smith is a translator, and they've sought to destroy me because of it, because of their disapproval of what I chose to do with my life. And they replaced me. And so this is a horrible atrocity. I don't think you guys fully grasp the level of criminality that's involved here, the level of seditious conspiracy that the church is involved with here. Mormons went to the Capitol to destroy the Constitution. And I've gone over with you, Joseph Smith, you know, it's been a Mormon myth all this time until I found it in the Joseph Smith papers. It is no longer a myth. I've got the exact quote from Joseph Smith, as recorded by the clerk, or the scribe. So a female scribe. Is that why Brigham Young didn't put it in? Oh, it's because Brigham Young was exposed as the leader of the Danites. Oh, okay. Oops, wrong file. Is it this one? No. This one. There it is. 19 July 1840. Martha Jane Knowlton Correa. She's got a lot of husband names attached to her name, doesn't she? I wonder who compromised her for that. Brigham Young. And so he talks about then the enemy. He's referring to his parable in section 101, starting in verse 43 of the olive trees. Mormons are the olive trees. The 12 tribes of Israel were new Israelites. The servants are the prophets. And I went over this in the lesson for the Doctrine and Covenants that year. And the church purposely changed it to turn you into the servants. Who are the olive trees then? Oh, they're the 12 apostles. Yeah, the eye is most likely connected with getting sick. And so, yeah, he's talking about the destruction of our nation in the parable, not just the destruction of the great and abominable church that has taken over Joseph's church, calls himself the Church of Jesus Christ, replacing Joseph Smith's Jewish church with the Jewish version of a Christ. Nope, Jesus replaced them, just like a white supremacist. Nations of the earth. Okay, this nation will be on the very verge of crumbling to pieces and tumbling to the ground. I'd say prophecy fulfilled. Wouldn't you, Mormons? Or is Joseph Smith a false prophet? And when the Constitution is upon the brink of ruin, how does the Constitution fall under the brink of ruin? Yeah, when laws are made in violation of the Constitution, when the justice system refuses to render justice equally, with unbiased, when the church pushes their laws and standards on the whole nation. It's supposed to be the Mormons that are supposed to save it and rescue it. Mormons were supposed to go on January 6th, not to destroy the Constitution and the American government by a coup, as their ancestors did with the Mormon War in 1838, and then couped the church after the election fraud. They were supposed to go there with Captain Moroni to defend the government from the kingmen and to defend the title of liberty, Constitution of Mosiah. And Mormons blew it. And so here's your second chance for the second harvest that begins the day after the election. Oh, you didn't watch that video? And so you think you can't be judged, therefore, because you didn't watch it? You can be saved in ignorance? See, that's the trick, Mormons. You can't be saved in ignorance, but you're judged according to the knowledge that you have. But you can't be saved in ignorance. Do you see the trap? You are forced to study and learn the truth. Just such a bummer to be born Mormon. All the work we have to do, and Travis knows it all because he did the study and the research. I hate him. I want his life destroyed. I'm glad the church is evil. So yeah, and then at the end of that paragraph, that's where Brigham Young's exposed and why he didn't put it in the Doctrine and Covenants. And so yes, it needs to be put in, because all Mormons, if they had had it in our Doctrine and Covenants all this time, we would have seen this coming and would have been prepared and would have also recognized that the church is the great and abominable church and would have left it. And so, yeah, there's no temple in Zion, guys. And so, what more is there to say? The church has violated the law. They violated their tax-exempt status. You cannot be a tax-exempt status corporation and influence elections. And the church did it with a temple dedication open house. They aren't innocent in any of this. They purposely plotted and planned this, timed it, and got certain people compromised in government. They not only should be pulled from their tax-exempt status, they're also supposed to be locked up and shut down again. Because, yeah, the church doesn't tell us that they were shut down in 1887. Edmunds Tucker Act. Wonder why. Because Wilford Woodruff says he was the president. And so how could the church have been shut down if he was the president? He said, in verse 11 of that official declaration, that he would never lead us astray. And yet he did by calling himself the president. And so, yeah, how did God smite him down? Signs in the heavens. And I did those videos too. Everything exposes the church as a great and abominable church. Why are Mormons still a part of it, other than they are knowing participants in the destruction of America, the enemy of mankind? Because if you're ignorant of all this and you're learning it for the first time, you need to get the hell out, and you need to get out now.